Hello everybody, so today I wanted to discuss a topic that is at the heart of Crowley's vision. The Orphic cult is a mystery religion, as I said before, and it is centered around soul worship. So if we look closer at the art card and we take into consideration Crowley's desire to breathe life to what was previously considered dead, we actually see a motif from Orphic belief shining through. So as seen here within this example, all things would contain a body and a soul, and duality rests on the material vessel holding an immortal essence called the soul. From the most basic perspective, it does make sense, right? We are reminded of our inner realm, hidden or relatively opaque to others, but very clearly a reality to ourselves. Not only does it manifest through the inability to recognize someone's internal thoughts and feelings, people will misunderstand what lies beyond the external appearance more often than not. So already judged before one has a chance to speak one's mind, or we can choose to remain hidden and act from a place of subterfuge instead. This is the very first understanding of this inherent duality that we have to learn to wield as a child growing into an adult. And so as someone passes this reality, or the phenomenon of an internal reality that happens to reside within us all, although difficult to grasp and understand, is clearly and obviously separate from the lifeless husk that is left behind. And if I think back on my own experience, my very first encounter with the death of somebody I really held dear, this person, although I could see her body, was near unrecognizable to me. So it's a harsh reality to come to terms with, and that the person that is left behind, this husk, this body, the person that we loved, is no longer there. So in the greater scheme of things, and I'm abstractly speaking obviously, it defines the existential battle of mortality. A reality that is both gripping and terrifying. Life is opposed to death, and death is opposed to life. But the Orphic cult marries these two states of existence and creates the philosophy of immortality, both in life and in death. This means that after life comes death, and after death comes life. We see it very clearly in the art card. And the other hint that we have, of course, is that it is not only flanked by both the devil and the death card, but on the cauldron we can see a skull with a crow perched on top of it. Crowley writes something along the lines of, you either look up or you look down. You either look up or you look down. So within the Zohar, it is highlighted that the letter Samech, incidentally looking like a snake biting its own tail, also relates to achieving a state that is reminiscent of meditation. King David reveals he performed 60 breaths. Those 60 breaths are really 60 breaths of life, both above and below. From there below are 60 other breaths, all from the side of death, the rung of death above them. They are called dormita, wakeless sleep, all tasting of death. And after said 60 breaths, he does not slip into a state of death, yet achieves the experience of Tiferet. Samech, having the value of 60, has a very close relationship with Tiferet. It is the sixth sphera, not only encapsulating the aspects of mankind, as the essence is that of Vav, or Adam, but it is here where heaven and earth meet. And you can consider David's star as a means to understand this alignment more closely. And so within the Zohar it is explained that there are 60 breaths below and 60 breaths above. Why would they say it like that? This isn't the easiest or clearest way to explain what someone means, but I suspect it is because Tiferet also holds some secrets about the Garden of Eden, and this is essentially also the name for heaven or the afterlife in Hebrew tongue. I think most, if not all, traditional Kabbalists will tell you that Tiferet is therefore inaccessible to us. The Hermetic tree appears to function a little bit differently, but I don't know these details just yet. A Kabbalist also believes in reincarnation, and this is tied to the reparation of the world and reinstating of God's light. So as long Malchut remains egoic, the Kabbalist will return to heal the world. So this aspect of a religion centered around the soul rather than material reality is what highlighted here. But the idea that a person who dies is simply, to put it bluntly, obliterated through forgetting is probably the most poignant part of it. And so memory and remembrance played a huge part in keeping a spirit alive. In another video, I have already touched on the incredible journey that is hidden within a single paragraph of the adjustment card, showing the unification with the creator, or perhaps more aptly, the creative void, the return to a creative void. And this process itself is described within the Sefer Yetzirah as returning to an embryonic stage, and if narrowly associated with the idea of sleep, perhaps it reveals the path that only a soul can take. And this is also why Hermes, initially the god of the wind, but also guide of souls, is playing such a big part in Hermetic philosophy. The secrecy is innate because it reveals something about our second hidden nature. The sun is, of course, the air Anpin, is Tiferet, is the sixth Sphera, the bright Shekhinah seeks union with the sun in this case. Temperance, running from Yesod to Tiferet.